Welcome back to Exploring AWS. I know that it's been about a week or so since I posted any videos. Sorry, you all know that I work for Cisco, and every now and then the workload for Cisco gets a little bit crazy with demos and presentations and sales and configurations. And anyway, I digress. Today, we are going to talk about something really interesting, and that's AWS Route 53. Now, it's kind of weird because the name, when you think about routing, you kind of think that it's going to be something where you have a router and you're configuring, OSPF or whatever. Route 53 is really not routing. It's actually DNS. So what Route 53 is it's Amazon's public DNS service. Now, if you don't know what DNS is, let me just give you kind of a brief, 30-second overview. DNS, when you make a public website request, if you go to Amazon.com, Google.com, Yahoo.com, whatever, Facebook.com, your machine, and I'm going to try to keep this high level. I know some of you IP gurus out there are going to say, well, it's not really true. Yeah, I know that. I get it. I'm going to try to make this simple for those of you who may not know or understand, the in-depths. So at the end of the day, your machine is not really going to send traffic to Amazon.com, right? Your machine needs to send traffic to an IP address, okay? And your machine needs to know what that IP address is that it's going to send traffic to. And DNS is that middleman. So what happens is when you say, hey, I want to go to Amazon.com or I want to go to Yahoo.com, your machine needs to resolve what is the IP address from the name. So, hey, I'm trying to get to this name. Can you tell me what the IP address is? And DNS is essentially what answers that question for your machine. So when I go to Amazon.com, there is a DNS request that says, hey, I'm looking for Amazon.com. Can you give me the IP address? The answer, hey, the IP address is whatever. And then my machine actually goes and sends traffic to that IP address, right? So again, without getting into all the nitty gritty and all the different inner workings and the ones and zeros that are under the hood, at a high level, that is DNS. So Route 53 is Amazon's DNS service, and this allows you to have a scalable DNS service within your AWS account, so that you can route, traffic to your forward-facing applications or websites. You don't necessarily have to use Route 53 for your internal AWS applications. You can use Route 53 for public services as well. So you could have a website on-prem, you could have a website in another location, and you can essentially still use Route 53 to route traffic from that local browser. Hey, I'm looking to get to, acme.com, what's that IP address? And you can use Route 53 to do that. Now, Route 53 also has built-in services that you can use to essentially make sure that your website is up and running. So you can use things like latency. You can use things like geographic DNS. So if you have a user that's in, China, trying to get to your website, and then you have another user that's in the US, you can use DNS to logically route your, that user traffic to the correct website or the correct, region or, whatever it is that you need to route it to. So you can use geographical location. You can use any latency-based routing, meaning you can actually say, hey, if there's a lot of latency here, if we're not getting requests, back in time, over a certain threshold, I want to go ahead and route traffic to, this other website over here. You can also use round robin. So this is not only a scalable solution for you to actually have DNS out there in the public internet. This is also a way that you can have some redundancy built into your forward-facing or your internet-facing applications, because this is going to actually build in some logic to it where you can build some thresholds, you can build some fault tolerance into it, and say if I see some of these thresholds, hitting their peak, I want to go ahead and I want to reroute traffic. So this is actually one of the really cool things that you can do with Amazon. Now, the other thing to think about is that this is also going to be a highly flexible service. So you can use this for things like your Amazon S3 buckets, like CloudFront, for example. So again, it doesn't have to be just for a web application, if you will. You can use this for other things. Okay, so this is Amazon Route 53. I'm not going to show you how to configure it because I don't want to go ahead and pay for it. You know that my guest account is free at the moment, and I don't think you need to configure it for your cloud practitioner anyway. I just wanted everybody to understand what Route 53 actually is. I do have the website up here, so you can see aws.amazon.com/Route53, and you can scroll down here. You can read all the different flexibility options that you have. Where it's highly highly available. You can read, how convergence is and all that kind of fun stuff. Again, I'm big on teaching you guys how to fish. But essentially, in a nutshell, in 5 minutes, that's what Amazon Route